Decommissioning Your Personal Triggers, a wisdom teaching from the Intergalactic Alliance of Light Beings. With Canadian psychic medium, Tracey Milne. Greetings, friends. We now have entered a space in our ascension when additional light healing packages will be sent to we as individuals and as part of a collective. These source love packages are sent to help us to heal what is still out of resonance with Source. Today's message is designed to help you to identify and release old emotional and mental triggers that might be holding you back as you progress along your ascension path. To begin, let's start with what are triggers. Triggers are the vibrational consequence of unhealed emotional or mental trauma experienced in this lifetime or previous lives that can shut down our authentic, intuitive, conscious self's processing abilities as our constructed ego self gets awakened in defense of perceived danger to our emotional, mental, spiritual, or physical state. Our triggers are often reflected in our knee-jerk reactions, not through thoughtful responses, and they signal any place we still have some clearing and healing to undergo, replacing unwanted frequencies with chosen ones instead. Our triggered reactions are often disproportionate to the difficulties being encountered at the time the trigger is flipped on. Let's start with mental triggers. Mental triggers take us into distorted thought patterns. Through acknowledgement of our tension, anxiety, or frustration levels, we can take charge of the internal conversations taking place and switch the balance within ourselves back to neutral as we find a healthy way to release our stress instead. We can shift our tension immediately by refocusing our mind into our breath or another current moment's sensory feeling that evokes happiness, safety, and self-awareness. By refocusing oneself at the moment tension or stress arise or is experienced, it prevents us from taking impulsive reactions in response to unwanted pain. Behaviors like blurting out negative words or expressing angry behavior. When we express angry behavior impulsively, it creates unnecessary confusion for ourselves and others around us. These triggers can often reflect as chronic negative thoughts. By acknowledging our feelings, then consciously choosing our response instead of giving into impulsive action, we can decommission mental triggers much faster and to our benefit. Ego defense is the most common mechanism that can block our higher sensory perception and the ability to return back to neutral states of mind. Ego defense mechanisms help us avoid accepting evidence that challenges our self-image as good and worthy, or that challenges our strongly held stereotypes or belief systems about ourselves in general, most often based on past and present perceived success or failure. Past, every person is a series of life experiences connected to memories, and beneath each memory will be a hidden belief system. These beliefs can range over a variety of topics, but tend to focus on how we manage ourselves within our reality and relationships. Through the course of growing up, we develop coping skills that include labels for people, places or objects or behaviors that are acceptable or not acceptable in our formed or constructed belief system. There is a payoff for every emotionally driven behavior and thought, whether positive or negative, that can be used to manipulate types of responses that you want to get out of other people. Ego defenses are commonly used as coping mechanisms for reducing day-to-day anxiety, fears, and obsessions that are related to addictive thought patterns or the need to control our environment. Ego defenses only offer fixed ways of thinking. They are not fluid or adaptable the way intuitive thoughts tend to be. You can feel the vibrational difference on the inside. These fixed ways of believing can become a mental program that is actually playing out certain archetypes or negative patterns, such as feeling victimized by something or someone. When we notice a pattern of recurring thoughts, feelings, and behaviors, or experiences that inevitably generate recurring complaints about something or someone, then that's our sign that we have a mental trigger in need of decommissioning. Remember, scars don't show our trauma so much as our ability to heal and live beyond the damage done. No one else has the right or privilege, only we have the right to take responsibility to change that mental pattern in order to begin to change the results that we wish to experience more often in our lives. Emotional triggers. Most of the time, when we experience an event in our lives which is shocking or painful, it creates pockets of false structures tied to the trauma of not being in control of that situation or the outcome. Often, these traumas get buried within our unconscious or subconscious minds, getting stored in our cellular memories, embedded throughout our body. If one is able to identify and manage the negative energy when it is occurring, that conscious awareness acts as a spiritual catalyst for great changes and potential conscious transformation. If one is unable to identify or manage the negative energy at the time of the trauma, it tends to get buried and forgotten on a conscious level, as often happens with childhood trauma. When a situation occurs in our now that is similar to the ingredients involved in the traumatic event, be they emotional, mental, physical, or spiritual, it triggers those memories and forces them to the surface in order to heal them in our now. When an unhealed emotional trauma gets triggered, a person involved can easily lash out in an effort to gain what they perceive as control over outward contributing factors, often in an attempt to feel better or to return stability to their reality. As such, traumatized people can find themselves acting out destructive archetypes and narratives of pain, fear, and dramas with people around them in their now due to the triggering of those unhealed inner memory buttons. The more we repeat the same trauma patterns, the more it imprints in our nervous system, brain, heart, and subconscious, making it harder to stop the destructive cycles held within the pain body and the ego wounds. The great news is there has never been an easier time to decommission your triggers and to stop destructive patterns that you may still nurse through unhealed wounds. The first step is deciding to no longer embody those traumas. In other words, first we have to stop acting them out. So the first step is in choosing to heal your triggers. The next step is to take some time away from triggering people, scenarios, places, and situations, and simply pamper yourself with your favorite things and spend time with your favorite people. During the most intense times of our clearing, it can be very beneficial to write or journal about your mental and emotional triggers and any epiphanies that you encounter in order to quickly heal and shift. Why? Because journaling helps to stop brain drain and figure eight thinking. When something or someone really triggers you, grab a pen and paper and start healing by asking yourself the following questions. What about this person or situation is triggering me? Why are these feelings so intense and uncomfortable? How many kinds of feelings are coming up for me right now? What am I telling myself about this situation or person? What am I afraid might happen if I am wrong? What happens if I'm no longer triggered by this? Why do I judge myself in this area? What would I like to feel instead? And what is stopping me from feeling and thinking that new way? Once you have your answers, take a few moments and get centered. Call in your guides if you work with some, and connect with Source and your higher self. Next, imagine being given access to a large book or database filled with all of your Earth experiences. Ask to remember what happened that originally generated the trauma or pain in this life or another, and ask to see it from the viewer or reader position. Allow whatever emotions come up to be given expression. Write it down or give voice to what has happened. Some people find having a witness that is capable of holding safe and non-judgmental space highly beneficial. A pet or inanimate object or crystal can be used as a witness. Some people like to write it out. Some people like to run it out. Some people like to wash it away in a shower or a large body of water. Do whatever feels right to you. Your memories must be given the time and space to be emotionally processed to completion. Don't try to rush it. Intentionally sever the attachment cords and bonds to that painful emotional experience or the people and circumstances involved. If need, evict any negative entities. Then reclaim all aspects of yourself that have been fragmented through any pain or trauma that you endured, and ask that it be returned to its rightful owner. Then welcome all parts back with love. Imagine a portal or a crystal that can suck out this energy connected to this past event from your cellular memory and see it evaporate as it is reclaimed by Source Love. Imagine the book of your life being rewritten. See the old records of trauma being erased from existence. Then fill up what was removed with love and acceptance for yourself. Give thanks for the trigger that led to the healing event and breathe in Source Love until you feel full to overflowing with it. Then flood the portal or crystal to the past with light and love and see the book before you evaporate. Thank all aspects of yourself who have helped you to learn lessons and to bring about this healing opportunity. When done, close the portal to the past. Feel the trauma as gone from where it originally occurred and from your cellular memory. Repeat until you have all your triggers decommissioned and replaced with love. Make these processes your own and stay vigilant to decommissioning your triggers as they reveal themselves to you. Remember, this clearing is happening for you, not to you. Lighten up and stay flexible on your expectations of perfection in performance. We hope this message has offered you a new way of looking at and dealing with old unwanted behavior. Until next time, shine on, in love always. On behalf of the Intergalactic Alliance of Light Beings, I am Chimera. Namaste. Are you ready to receive your own private galactic guidance session or soul healing? Then sign up soon at whatcomesnextforyou.com and receive your own private session with Tracey Milne. whatcomesnextforyou.com. What's in your future?